Guys, welcome to today's session. Today, I want to talk a little bit more about the coming solar eclipse, what it means, what you can expect, and just to debunk a lot of conspiracy theories around it and a lot of fear mongering surrounding the coming solar eclipse, because I know a lot of people are panicking due to the current events that we see surrounding the eclipse, from religion to politics. There's a lot of movement going on in the world, and everybody's worried. But let me remind you that during this session, I will try to point out some events that happened during the solar eclipse, the past solar eclipses, that actually show that it's not a time of panic, that actually shows that it's a time where conflicts came to an end. It's been times where there's been a reset in civilization for the positive. So that's what I want to talk about today. And of course, if you have any questions about it, please let me know. I'm live on TikTok. I'm also here on the Discord server. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask and we'll get started. Now, the first thing that I want to emphasize and that I want to repeat is that solar eclipses do not happen when the moon blocks the sun between the sun and the earth. That's not the cause of a solar eclipse. This is what we generally understand. This is what we've been told, but that's not the case. If that was the case, then we would have a solar eclipse every single month, because for those of you who don't understand or who don't know, solar eclipses can only happen during a new moon. Now, what is a new moon? A new moon is when the sun and the moon are moving in the same constellation. So if we look up in the sky, we can see that the sun right now is in the constellation of Pisces. And when the moon will enter the constellation of Pisces, this will create a new moon. And this is what we've been told that causes a solar eclipse. But that's incorrect, because like I said, there's a new moon every single month. So I do have a drawing pad here. I'm going to try my best to explain what actually happens using a visual diagram for you guys to make it easier. So let's continue. So I'm going to draw over here. So first let's draw the earth. We'll see the earth, okay? And then we get told, this is the sun. And we get told that the eclipse happens when the moon blocks the light of the sun, right? So the light of the sun is coming here. So the moon blocks the light of the sun, and this is what causes the eclipse. So it blocks the light, right? It blocks the light. Now the light can't reach the earth, and this is what causes the eclipse. This is incorrect. This is not what happens, because this is not the cause of the eclipse. Let me clarify. This is not what causes the eclipse. This is called a new moon. And this happens every single month. Every 28 days, this happens. But we don't see a solar eclipse every month. When do we have solar eclipses? Not every month. So We have some questions. What color is the sun? The sun is white. The sun causes white light. So this is the correct model. This is what they teach you so that you believe the heliocentric model. Now, I remind you, if this was the case, if this is what truly created the solar eclipse, we would have a solar eclipse every single month. Because every single month, the moon goes in the same position as the sun. And how can you know this? You can know this by looking at the sky, by looking at the constellations and seeing, okay, where is the moon? Where is the sun? You can know this through astrology or through astronomy. This is not a belief. This is not a religion. This is not philosophy. This is physics. We can see the suns and the moon move in the sky. So what causes the eclipse? Someone asked, why is the world flat? So I won't get into the details why the world is or isn't flat, but we do live in the plane of inertia, which some people translate that to the earth being flat, the flat earth. But there's a lot of miscomprehension behind that term, and it's important to understand the reality of where you live. And the reality where you live is not that you live in the globe, and it's not that you live in a flat surface floating in the sky, for example. It's not like this. The earth is not like this and it's floating in the sky. When people say that the earth is flat, that's not what they mean. This is not what they mean, that the earth is flat and floating in the sky and all the other planets are round, rocky objects in the universe. That's not what they mean. It's number one, very important. This is not what flat earthers relate to. I mean, there's a lot of information about this. So what actually happens is this. Now I'm going to throw you another diagram to explain exactly what happens during the solar eclipse. What is the cause of the solar eclipse? So if you please take a look. I'm going to try my best. It's not easy because I'm drawing backwards, but I will try my best. So first, we have here, let's say that this is the earth. Now, to keep it simple, we're going to say that this is the flat earth, to keep it simple, even though literally it's not. There's much more to it. We'll talk about that another time. But for today, to explain what the solar eclipse is, what creates solar eclipse, we're going to keep it simple. And we're going to say that this is the earth and that the earth is indeed flat. So what do we mean when the earth is flat? Well, if we go to the heliocentric model, where this is the earth, it might be backwards to you, but if we go to the heliocentric model, if this is the earth, then this teaches us that the moon, the sun, the stars, and the planets rotate around the earth, right? So they go around the earth. All the stars, all the planets, they are rotating around the earth, and the earth has its spin and so on. And the difference between the heliocentric model and the flat earth model, or best known as the geocentric model. This is the geocentric. Geo means earth. So in the geocentric model, earth is stationary. Earth does not move. Everything else moves around it. The stars and the planets move around it. But like I said, it doesn't mean when we claim that everything is moving around the earth, it doesn't mean that the earth is a flat disk in space, and that everything else is moving around it in space, and that this is floating in space, and everything else is a round, rocky object moving around the Earth. That's not what we mean, because that's not what it is. Because the Earth is neither flat nor round. It's a matter of comprehension, which, like I said, today we will not talk about it, but to keep it simple, to explain the function of an eclipse, we're going to keep it simple and say, use the geocentric model where the Earth is flat and everything around it rotates. So when the Earth is a plane like this one, all the constellations move around it. All the planets and the celestial bodies move around it. And by the way, in case you did not know, the sun and the moon are planets. Now you may say, wait a minute, that's not what I've been told. I've been told that the sun is a gas giant, it's a star, and that the moon is a satellite and it reflects the sun, the light of the sun. But here's the thing. The word planets, it's derives from the Greek word planetes. And planetes means wanderer. Wanderer as in something that is wandering, that it is moving, to wander around. So the sun and the moon are indeed planets. Why are they planets? They're not stationary, right? They are not fixed in the sky. They are also moving, just like all the other planets are moving. So when we speak about planets, you need to understand that we also take into consideration the sun and the moon. They are indeed planets. In fact, if you look at ancient scriptures about cosmology, they will always refer to the sun and the moon also as planets. And when they say the word planets, they include the sun and the moon. And this is no different. And it's very important to comprehend that. It's very, really important. Why is it important to understand? Because if you understand that it's only in the traditional sense, the first 7 planets, that they are called planets, and that the sun and moon are not planets, that there are fixed points. This is where it can mislead you into believing the heliocentric model. So the flat plane, everything moves around it, the sun, the moon, and all the planets. All the planets, including, like I said, sun and moon are planets. They move around the flat plane. So we're going to take some different markers. I hope you can see this. So we have the sun. I hope you can see that yellow marker. If not, I will. Okay, we have the sun over here. Now for you, it might be backwards, I'm not sure. And then let's say the moon is at the opposite side. We're going to keep it simple. And the moon. Okay? And this is the Earth. Okay? Now we use the flat Earth model. Again, it's just to keep it simple, where everything is inside a dome, right? And again, a dome is not literal. The dome is actually the toroidal field. And the reason that the Earth exists at the center, Earth, is an anagram for heart, EARTH, the same letters, an anagram, the same letters for the word heart. The heart is where all the energy gets focused on. It gets concentrated, it gets slowed down, and creates the Earth. It creates physical matter. By the way, this dome continues. It's also around here. It's a full circle. So this is where they can mislead you, and they can tell you, hey, we live in around Earth, because it is indeed round. It is a globe. However, where you live, where you stand on, it is a flat plane. And the reason they can say that it's a globe is because of the toroidal field of the Earth. It's the magnetic field of the Earth. I don't want to get into that too much today, because today's topic is about explaining the mechanics of the solar eclipse. So, the sun and the moon. This is the east, and this is the west. All planets rise from the east, descend in the west, no exception. Every single one of them. However, did you know that the stars and the constellations, so let's put the Ursa Majoris right here, for example, they move the opposite direction. The stars move in this direction, while the planets are moving in that direction. We live inside a clock, and by the way, there's a bigger clock to this. They're moving in the opposite direction. So all the planets are moving that way, all the stars are moving the opposite direction. Now, when we talk about the eclipse, we're told that it is when the moon comes between the sun. So let's say the moon reaches a point where it's now between the earth and the sun. So technically the moon is blocking the sun, correct? And like I said, this happens every single month. This doesn't happen only during an eclipse. This happens every 28 days. But we don't have an eclipse every 28 days. So, for example, last month, the moon and the sun were together in the constellation of, it would have been Sun in Pisces, moon, sun is going to be in Pisces, so it would have been, and then the full moon would be in Virgo last month. The full moon was in Virgo, so it means that the new moon was in, the new moon would have been in where? It was not Virgo, hold on, just let me think. If the full moon was in Virgo, that's because the new sun and the new moon is going to be in Pisces now, okay? So previously, the new moon would have been, the sun would have been in Aquarius, the full moon would have been in Leo, Aquarius. So last month, the moon and the sun were in the constellation of Aquarius. And if you look at the sky, and you can use astronomy, so you don't have to understand astrology for this. You can use simple methods to understand the sky, and that is astronomy. You can use a telescope, you can use an app on your phone. There are many great apps nowadays that, thanks to the magic of GPS, they can calculate the stars in the sky. And again, this is something that you can see with the naked eye. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. You don't need to have deep understanding of what I'm speaking about. With the apps, they can tell you, okay, this star, what you're looking at right now, it's Aldebaran, it's Antares, this is the constellation Aquarius, and so on and so forth. So last month, the sun and the moon were together, they aligned together in the constellation of Aquarius during the new moon. Did we have a solar eclipse? No. But the moon was blocking the sun last month. Last month, the sun and the moon were together in the constellation of Aquarius, and they were literally together. Now, by together, I mean that the moon was literally in front of the sun. Okay? And it was blocking the sun. Did we have darkness for 3 or 4 days? No, we did not. And this happens every 28 days. It didn't block it. So what is causing the eclipse? Well, NASA will tell you that there are 2 black holes also circulating the Earth. And they are going in the same direction as the constellations. They are not going in the direction of the planets. Like I said, all the planets, I'm going to highlight in this in black. All the planets, the sun and the moon, they move in that direction. Okay? They are moving clockwise. All the constellations, they move anti-clockwise. The two black holes, they move along with the stars. They move anti-clockwise at a much faster speed than the sun and the moon. It's another matter. So let's continue. So these two black holes in astrology, they have, so there are two black holes, and in astrology, these black holes are known as the south and the north node, or Ketu and Rahu, or Rahu and Ketu, either way. And if you are able to view the orbit of these two black holes, it is these black holes that come between the sun and the moon. So I'm going to draw here the black hole. And this happens every solar eclipse. It is these black holes that cause the eclipse. It is the black holes that absorb the light of the sun and that causes darkness on the plane of the earth. It is not the moon. So this is something that I wanted to explain, and I hope that this with this visual presentation you understand it a little bit better. Not the best, but I hope that at least with this, you understand it a little bit better. Now there's a lot more to that, and that can explain the dynamics and the principles of and the mechanics of where you live, the reality in which you live in. The earth is electric and the moon is magnetic. So the sun is electric and the moon is magnetic. The sun is literally emitting electrical frequencies and the moon magnifies them. We live in the Saturn moon matrix, and then Saturn crystallizes them. Saturn slows down these frequencies. It makes them slow down so much that they become matter. It transforms them into matter. And this is why Saturn is the planet that governs over matter. Everything. It governs over a carbon life. All biological creatures are made out of carbon. Carbon is the element that creates matter. So that's all for today. Quick explainer again about the solar eclipse. What causes the solar eclipse? Now, something that I want to talk about now that we understand the mechanics of what causes the eclipse. I now want to talk about what we should expect and what we should be wary of. What because, like I said, there's a lot of fear mongering online. There is a lot of conspiracy theories and a lot of misunderstanding and exaggeration about the coming eclipse. So the eclipse that we're going to see in a few days from now is going to happen in the constellation of Pisces. That means that the sun and the moon and the black hole, which is the north node or known as Rahu, as I showed you in that diagram, they're going to be aligned together in the constellation of Pisces. Now I'm going to pull up some examples here. I'm going to be reading from Chat GPT some examples for you that I've listed the other day thanks to the help of AI. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Okay. So first, let's look at what we can see about the history of solar eclipses. Number one, in ancient China, In Chinese mythology, it was believed that a celestial dragon was swallowing the sun during an eclipse. And to frighten the dragon away and ensure the return of sunlight, people would make loud noises, beat drums, and shoot arrows in the sky. Isn't that interesting? Because, like I said, these black holes are called Rahu and Ketu, which are a symbol of a dragon. And I mentioned this in one of my videos before, that black holes are represented by dragons in a lot of myths, in a lot of ancient civilizations. Let's look at what happened in Greece, how the signification of black holes in Greece and the solar eclipse. The ancient Greeks saw solar eclipses as a sign of the gods' anger or impending disaster. They believed that eclipses were caused by the gods' displeasure, and rituals were performed to appease them. For example, sacrifices were made to the gods, and prayers were offered to avert calamity. And what is going to happen on the 8th of April? Well, we have the reds, what are they called? These red cows, red heifer cows, red heifer, the red, I don't know how to pronounce it, red heifer or red heifer cows, right? They're going to sacrifice 3 red cows on the 8th of April, similar to what the ancient Greeks did, a long, long time ago. Now let's take a look at ancient Mesopotamia. In Mesopotamian culture, solar eclipses were seen as omens of divine judgment or impending doom. Priests and astrologers closely monitored celestial events and interpreted them as messages from the gods. Eclipses were believed to signal significant changes in the political or social landscape. So even back in Mesopotamia, which is a very long time ago, in fact, they have what is known as the first recorded civilization. They had astrologers reading the sky and monitoring these events. Let's take a look at indigenous cultures. Various indigenous cultures around the world have their own beliefs and rituals around solar eclipses. For example, did you know that Native American tribes, they viewed eclipses as battles between celestial beings or as opportunities for spiritual renewal? Rituals such as fasting, prayer, and ceremonial dances were performed to honor the event and maintain harmony with the cosmos. If you came to me as an astrologer and asked me for advice, what you should do during the solar eclipse, number one, I would tell you, do not look at the eclipse. Don't be out there with the crowd looking at the eclipse. And number two, I would tell you, hey, fast. Don't eat that day. Now, if you want to know the reasons why, you can join my Discord server where we spoke about this and explain why fasting is important during eclipses. But you see, even indigenous cultures, Native Americans knew about this way before we did. So there's something that they're obviously hiding that they don't want you to know. And they, I mean, the powers that be, the elite, the people that govern the media, so on and so forth. But I'm here to tell you the truth. Eclipses are not caused by the moon. Eclipses are caused by the black holes. And these black holes in ancient civilizations were known as dragons. They were known as these mythical creatures. And that this flying dragon would fly across the sun, and that's what caused the eclipse. Of course, even in those days, they were able to create myths and stories out of the events that they monitored and viewed in the sky. Just as the Bible is a personification of the sun, well, Chinese dragons are personifications of these black holes that cause eclipses. So, what can we know about our history in order to understand the future and the present today? Let's take a look at some solar eclipses that were recorded in the ancient past. One of them is the Battle of Hales. This was 585 before Christ. So this was during an ancient Greek historian, Herodotus. He recounted a story about a solar eclipse that occurred during a battle between the Lydians and the Medes. The sudden darkness, so on that day, there was a battle. And when the solar eclipse happened, and it was a total solar eclipse, by the way, so the sudden darkness of the total solar eclipse, it led to a ceasefire, and it made both sides to negotiate a peace treaty. And the reason that I'm going to list this event is because there's a lot of fear mongering behind solar eclipses, when in fact, many solar eclipses were a reset to stop conflicts. They were a catalyst to stop conflicts and to begin new lives. And it influenced our whole society. So let's take a look at another example. In the year 1133 BC, it was King Henry I's death. So in medieval England, the sudden death of King Henry I occurred shortly after a solar eclipse. And what did I say a few days ago on my Discord server? I said that during every solar eclipse, and I believe in my TikTok video, there's always a change of dynamic with royal families, where there's a new reign of power, meaning that a new king comes to play, or a king dies. Either way, there's a change of dynamic with royal families, just like we see with King Henry I's death during that eclipse. Some historians speculate that the eclipse's timing contributed to the political uncertainty and power struggles that followed his death. What do we see now happening with the royal family? There's a lot of uncertainty behind the powers of the royal family. Let's look at another example. Let's go back to the year 1692. It's the Salem witch trials. During the Salem witch trials in Massachusetts, I'm not great at pronouncing that, a solar eclipse occurred on October 27th, 1692. Some scholars believe that the eclipse may have intensified the superstitious beliefs and paranoia surrounding the trials, contributing to the hysteria and executions of accused witches. Now, that's definitely the case with solar eclipses, that it can make people panic, because Rahu, this black hole, definitely enhances the black holes in astrology and astronomy. They enhance the power of the planets that they are aligned with. The moon governs our mind. And like I said previously, the sun is electric. The sun electrifies the moon magnifies. And when it gets conjunct with Rahu, or this black hole, the North Node, it enhances the people's emotions. And it's in the sign of Pisces. And Pisces is all about grief and pain and secrets. So, and losses and death and division. So with the black hole being there during April the 8th, it's going to enhance all these feelings. And not only it's going to enhance these feelings, which, by the way, one of the feelings with Rahu and Pisces, it's suicidal tendencies. Not only it enhances it, but being with the sun there, it makes them public. It makes these things very public. It makes these things come to light, where people can no longer hide. And this is really important to understand, because Pisces is all about secrets. It's all about hidden emotions. It's all about hidden traits. So with the eclipse happening with the sun and Rahu, North Node, the black hole, with the moon in Pisces, there's not a chance for secrecy during that time. And the sun also represents government. So, and the monarchy and kings and people of power, people with authority. Also, celebrities. Anything that is known to the public, that is out in the open, in the public, in the media, is ruled by the sun. because everyone can see it. So it's during that time that we can expect that all these celebrities, uh, people in power, the elite, if any of them have been hiding anything, now is the time where we're going to see all these things come to light. Let's look at another example. The American Civil War in 1865. A solar eclipse took place on July 29, 1878, passing over the western United States. This event occurred just a few years after the end of the Civil War and was interpreted by some as a symbol of reconciliation and healing for the nation. So, like I said, it's not only about conflict, and we shouldn't get paranoid and panic because it brings ends to things. That's what it does. So, the only ones that are panicking right now should not be you and me, it's the powers that be, the elite, celebrities, people in power. They are the ones who are truly panicking behind the scenes, and they want you to be a part of their panic. So they're causing all this havoc, they're manipulating the media, they're putting the fear on you as a distraction. They're causing all distractions so you don't actually see what's happening, because they are the ones who actually are fearing this solar eclipse, because all the secrets will come out. And Pisces is not only about secrets, but it's like we're talking about the things that cause pain to humanity, grief, struggle to humanity. Greed is also Pisces. And with the solar eclipse on the 8th of April, it brings an end to these things. It also brings an end to religion, by the way, because religion is all Pisces energy. Because there's a big difference between spirituality and religion is not spirituality. Religion is a form of delusion, and that's what Pisces is. Pisces is delusion, and through the things that you do not understand, you create chaos and division. That's what Pisces is. Pisces divides people, it creates division. And what is the thing that causes the most division in the past 2,000 years during the age of Pisces? Religion. Beliefs in fairy tales, beliefs in these dogmatic views that are not literal, but people take them literally and cause misunderstanding and miscomprehension. That's what another trait of Pisces, which is the unknown, miscommunication, not understanding things. And it's the powers that be know, are they aware of this, and instead of making you understand, they cause even more confusion and chaos. That's all Pisces energy. So with the solar eclipse on the 8th of April, it brings an end to these things. It's a reset. No more confusion, no more division, no more delusional Pisces energy. That's it, done. So that's why they are fearing it. Another example, the Indian independence movement in 1942. During Indian struggle for independence from British rule, a solar eclipse occurred on June 21st, 1942. The eclipse coincided with the launch of the Quit India movement, a major civil disobedience campaign led by Mahatma Gandhi, marking a significant turning point in India's fight for freedom. Another reset. That's an example where there was, struggles with the power dynamics at that point in India between the British rule and independence movement of India. And they ended up winning. They got their independence. So you see, these examples show how the solar eclipses, they interact with political, social, and cultural events. So it's not all about chaos and fear and, oh my God, terrible things are going to happen. It's actually the opposite. They want you to feel and think that terrible things are happening, because terrible things are happening to those in power. Terrible things are happening to those who have kept secrets from humanity, those who have divided humanity, those who have created grief and pain through greed, through manipulation. Pisces is manipulation. And it brings an end to this. they will no longer have the ability to do that, especially during before and after the solar eclipse. Because did you know that Rahu, this black hole which I speak about, is going to be in the constellation of Pisces until the end of the year 2024. And we're also in the year 2024, which in numerology, 2 plus 2 plus 4 equals 8. 8 is the number of karma, which is ruled by Saturn. Saturn brings karma, and it also brings success and achievements to those who've worked hard. So again, there's no need to fear the solar eclipse. The solar eclipse can bring a great reset for humanity. And it's only those, the powers that be, that fear it. You shouldn't. That's all for today. If you like videos like this, feel free to join my Discord server where I make these videos and I share these recordings. I also do readings. I do astrology readings and numerology reports. So you can also apply for that on my Discord server. You can also join the TikTok, watch the videos there. I have a lot of articles on the Discord server as well as on my Facebook page. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Don't panic for the coming solar eclipse. I hope you understand the mechanics that I explained at the beginning of this video. And I look forward to teaching you guys some more later on. Thank you.